I had been informed, meanwhile, that the districts of Manisa and Aydın had been occupied by the Greek army, but I could not obtain any further particulars about the troops that I understood were at Izmir and Aydın. I had sent orders directly to their commanders. At last, on the 29th June, I received a telegram in cipher dated the 27th from Bekir Sami Bey, commanding to 56th Division. According to this telegram, a certain Hürrem Bey had previously commanded the 56th Division at Izmir. He and nearly all the surviving officers of the two regiments at Izmir had been taken prisoners. The Greeks had sent them to the Mudanya by sea. Bekir Sami Bey had been sent to take over the command of what remained of these troops. In this telegram of the 27th June 1919, Bekir Sami Bey reported that he had received both of my orders of the 22nd on his arrival at Bursa. Among other things, he said, "As I am unable to obtain the necessary means for the realization of the national aims, and as I considered that I could render better service by reorganizing my division, I thought it better to leave Kula for Bursa on the morning of the 21st June. In spite of many obstacles, however, I have still been able to spread out the idea everywhere that our national movement is absolutely necessary if we are to save the country." He added that he had full confidence in my intentions and mode of procedure, and that he had energetically set to work at once. He asked me to send further orders to 57th Division at Çine, as well as to himself. After I had stayed for a week at Samsun, and from the 25th May to the 12th June at Hafsa, I went to Amasya. While I was there, I sent pressing circulars to all the commanding officers and higher civil officials, urging them to proceed with the formation of national organization throughout the country. I must observe that the people had not been fully informed about the occupation of Izmir and later of Manisa and Aydın. Neither had they been made aware of the severity and ill treatment that was being inflicted. Consequently, there had been no public manifestation of indignation and protest against the dastardly blow that had been aimed at their national independence. Their silence and apathy in face of this unjust conspiracy could only be explained in a very unfavorable light for the nation. The chief thing, therefore, was to arouse them and force them to take action. For this purpose, on the 28th May 1919, I gave these instructions to the Walis. The independent governors, the leaders of the 50th Army Corps at Erzurum and 20th Ankara, in 13th at Diyarbakır, and the Army Inspection at Konya. The occupation of Izmir and the unfortunate occupation of Manisa and Aydın that followed distinctly prove more than anything else could do how imminent the danger is. More continuity and more power must be given to the national manifestation for the preservation of the integrity of our territory. Such events as occupation and annexation touch the very life and independence of the country, whose entire nation is deeply agitated by these shameful attacks. It is possible to suppress the rebellion. Next week, from Monday to Wednesday, if circumstances will allow, you will raise the people to hold great and imposing meetings, appealing to justice and demanding the intervention of all the civilized nations and the great powers to put an end to this intolerable state of affairs. These manifestations must extend over the whole of the district under you. Energetic and impressive telegrams must be sent to the representatives of the great powers and the sublime port. It is important to influence to the foreigners, where there are any, by strictly maintaining dignity and order while the manifestations are being held and avoiding any molestation of or hostile demonstrations against the Christian population. Thanks to the fortunate fact that your own conviction supports these ideas, I feel certain that you will carry this matter to a successful conclusion. Please let me know the result of your efforts. In obedience to these instructions, meetings were immediately organized in every direction. A few localities only had any hesitation because they were troubled with vague fears. For instance, this was notably the case at Trabzon, as could be seen from a telegram in Cipher dated the 19th June from the officer commanding the 15th Army Corps, which said that although it had been decided a meeting should be held, it could not take place because they wanted to avoid any unpleasantness with the Greek elements and obviate incidents that might take place without any cause, and that Stratipolides had been a member of the organizing committee. Trabzon was a very important place on the Black Sea, and it showed weakness to hesitate in such a town and allow Stratipolides Effendi to take part in any meeting that had to do with national manifestations against the Greeks. This attitude indicated that the work was not being taken seriously, and it might have been accepted in Istanbul as a favorable sign, an argument that supported our enemies. Also, there were some people clever enough to turn my orders against ourselves. Thus, the new governor of Sinop led all the manifestations in the town himself, drew up the resolutions that were to be put to meetings himself, pretended to have induced the population to sign them, and even sent us a copy of them. In this lengthy document, which the poor population were urged to sign in the midst of all the turmoil that surrounded them, the following lines were concealed. If the Turks have not made any progress, if they could never have been able to adapt themselves to the principle of European civilization, the reason is that hitherto they have never been under good administration. The Turkish nation can only exist under a government that is organized under the supervision and control of Europe, naturally with the provision that it remains under the sovereignty of its Padishah. When I glance at the signatures under this memorandum that was handed over to the representative of the Entente Powers on the 3rd June 1919, in the name of the population of Sinop, the one that I immediately noticed following that of the provisional mufti showed me the spirit that had inspired and dictated these lines. The signature was that of the vice president of the party known as Unity and Freedom. Exactly 3 days after I had ordered these meetings to be organized everywhere. That is to say, on the 31st May 1919, I received this telegram from the War Ministry. I send you here with a copy of the note addressed by the English Commissioner to the Sublime Porte and the War Ministry. Although, according to the last reports, there is nothing of special importance to be noted except the customary robberies in the districts of the 3rd Army Corps. You will order a special inquiry to be made as to the facts referred to in the recent note, and report the result of your inquiry as soon as possible. Şevket, Minister of War. Copy. The first, I have to bring to the knowledge of your Highness that I have recently received somewhat disquieting information regarding the situation at Sivas as well as the safety of the Armenian refugees who are concentrating in the town and its vicinity. Second, I have Therefore, the request Your Highness to give orders to the War Minister to send an urgent telegram to the officer in command, instructing him to do everything that is possible to protect the Armenians dwelling in the districts under this command, and further to inform him that in case of massacres or excesses occurring there, he will be held personally responsible for them. Third one, I specially request that orders to the same effect shall be sent to the civil officials. Fourth, knowing how much Your Highness is justly concerned about the insecurity prevailing in the interior of the country, I feel convinced that you will immediately do what is necessary. Fifth, I shall feel greatly obligated to you if you will inform me when these orders have been sent out. A telegram received from the Vilayet of Sivas on the 2nd June stated that another had been received on the same day, signed by Colonel Dimanche, of which is an extract. On the account of the occupation of Izmir, the lives of the Christians at Azizi are in danger. This cannot be tolerated any longer. In virtue of the authority conferred on me, I draw your attention to the fact that such occurrences will probably lead to the occupation of your province by the troops of the Allies. In reality, nothing whatever in the shape of unrest had taken place at Sivas, and it is natural, therefore, that the lives of the Christians had not been endangered. The fact is that the Christian elements, influenced by the meetings which the people had begun to organize and which they regarded as damaging to their own interests, intentionally spread these rumors abroad for the purpose of attracting the attention of foreign countries. I give you the answer that I sent to the War Minister in reference to their telegram, together with the exact wording of the note. The intelligence, extremely urgent, No. 58 to the Imperial Minister of War, reply to your telegram in chief of June 2nd, 1990. No incident has occurred which could in any way to be calculated to disturb the Armenians at Sivas and its vicinity. The refugees arrived there later. Neither at Sivas nor in its neighborhood is there any cause whatever or unassistance. All of the inhabitants carry on their business as usual. I am able emphatically to confirm this. For this reason, I must request to be informed what is the source from which the English have obtained the information referred to in their note. It's quite possible that some people have been alarmed about the meetings that have been held by the Mohammedan population, following the news of the distressing occupation of Izmir and Manisa. These meetings, however, I have not caused any ill feeling at all against the Christian elements. There is no reason to be anxious about the non-Muslim elements so long as the Entente powers respect the rights and independence of our nation, and so long as the integrity of our country is guaranteed. I beg you, therefore, to be assured that I willingly accept all responsibility in regard to this matter, and believe that you are justified in putting full confidence in me. But as far as I can see, neither I nor anyone else can possibly suppress the revulsion and indignation that is felt by the nation in face of the threats and attacks represented by the territorial occupation and the various assaults that are delivered against its independence and its very existence. Nor are there any means of prohibiting the natural national manifestations that are the direct consequence of these events. I cannot imagine that there is a single military commander or civil official or any government that could accept responsibility for any events that could arise under such conditions. Mustafa Kemal.